We have a new car to look at. Well, not new to the game, but new and now finally drivable in the GT Spec Series for multiplayer. And that's this 2020 KTM X-Bow GT2. Thanks a lot to viewer Efficients for letting me know. I might have missed that otherwise. So far, only the GT4 variant of this car was drivable in multiplayer, but it's great to see that the GT2 is now available as well, because it drives quite a lot different to the other GT cars. You thought that the Audi R8 had a great power to weight ratio? Well, take a look at the KTM GT2 in comparison and think again. More power, but less weight. That sure sounds great. But is it? We'll find out today. And taking a look at the Hotlap comparison first, you're gonna see the big strength of this car as we pull away on the straight from the Ghost quite quickly. But that means that we're gonna lose out in the first couple of corners again. Because that's how these things are balanced then. If you're fast in a straight line, you're gonna be a little bit slower in the corners. And that's exactly what's happening here. By the way, if you're noticing, we're driving against a different Ghost here, not our normal Audi R8, because I was finally able to do a proper tune for the Corvette C8 and actually managed to beat the Audi R8 in the Hotlap here by I think 2-3 tenths. So yeah, this Ghost is a little bit harder to drive against now than the Audi R8 was. Just keep that in mind. And by the way, the tune for the C8 is already shared on Forza. I will make a video on it soon, hopefully. Really want to make that happen, but haven't been able to get to that yet. But yeah, just so you know, that's now why we are driving against a different Ghost. But you can see the KTM is kind of keeping up. I mean, we are falling behind a little bit, but it's the stock variant. As always, we are gonna take a look at the tuned variant afterwards, and also I'm gonna show you the tune. And I think for this car, the tune is really important, because the car really felt weird in certain sections. I couldn't really put my finger on what was wrong, but something really felt off to me, and I was really struggling to even get the time that you're gonna see here now. It's gonna be a decent time, but not a great one. I mean, it's somewhere in the range of like the good to decent cars in the GT category, but as I said, I was struggling to even get there. And you can see here 144, 805. It's okay, but like this is nowhere near consistent. And this was something I wanted to figure out how to get that better and maybe even faster with a tune. So here is the tuned variant, and you can see still we are getting away on the straight from the Ghost, but in the first couple of corners we are not losing out, at least not that much, and we are at least this point staying ahead of the Corvette, which did drive quite a good time in my opinion. And well, we're kind of close here, and you can see the corner speed is improved on the tune, while the straight line speed is still very good, like definitely better in terms of straight line acceleration. And also the car, at least to me, feels a little bit better to drive, not as unpredictable. But I have to say, this is still a difficult car to drive, even with the tuning that I did. I'm not sure if you can maybe make the car still go fast, but be a little bit better behaved. But I wasn't able to do this. As I said, I felt like I was in control of this car, but it is definitely way harder to drive than the Corvette C8, for example. So just keep that in mind if you take a look at the tune. It is definitely a fast one, you're gonna be able to see. I mean, we are still keeping up here. But it is more difficult to drive than some of the other tunes that I've done. So yeah, keep that in mind, and maybe you can do some adjustments yourself to make it suit you a little bit more. But yeah, I was really surprised with the time that I was able to do in this car, because as I said, I improved the corner speed by reducing some of the unwanted understeer, and also made it more stable to be, well, more consistent, and got a 144.035. And I was surprised by that, because that is even faster than the stock Audi R8, which we haven't beaten in a lot of tuned cars yet. You can see the tune here. And as always, you can pause at any screen and take a look if you want to. The tune is, as always, also shared on Forza, so if you just want to get that, you can also do that. But yeah, every window is here and you can take a look. It was a difficult car to set up for me, and I really struggled to get this thing A, consistent, and B, still fast. But I think I kind of managed. And then I wanted to get into some races. But this is where the trouble started. So here, starting on Mid-Ohio, I knew I was gonna be not that fast in the corners, and already turn 1, that happened, and some people just don't care. And I get spun around, and well, the race was just really bad for me. Another race here at Silverstone, I was doing a little bit better in the start, but then this happened. And well, that may have been a little bit my fault as well, but well, we were side by side, I don't know. I decided to keep going and just see what I can do, but once again I'm slow through a handling section and someone else bumps into the back of me and spins me around, which was really frustrating. So I was like, okay, let's go to the track where I feel like this car is gonna be very good at, and that's Le Mans. And well, we're starting here on Le Mans on P3 and with hard tires, because we're trying to do this without any pit stop. It's a 4-lap race and each lap is a little bit more than 4 minutes. So it's gonna be a struggle in the end, I think. But yeah, doing a pit stop here at Le Mans loses you so much time. And if you can manage to go on hards, it's probably for the best. By the way, if you are new around here or haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so, as that would really help the channel out quite a lot. So thank you so much. But yeah, getting started here, not the greatest start. I did try with the gearing to make it a little bit better, but it still isn't the best, I would say, but it's manageable. And well, I found myself dropping 1 place, but I was like, okay, let's just take it easy and hopefully not get rear-ended this time, because I know through this section, it's a handling section, I will be slower than some of the other cars. But there was some carnage going on behind, I think, because a lot of people fell back here. So I was like, okay, great. Now I finally have a chance to actually get a decent race in and focus on the front and not on people punting me from the back. We'll see if that continues, but for now at least we can see what we can do. And well, here on the straight we are gonna go and see the acceleration and speed of this car. I don't think it is as overpowered as I would have thought it to be. Maybe it's because the top speed isn't like super great. I think it's good, but I think where this car really is like the best is like the low speed acceleration zones, like getting out of a corner and onto a straight. This is where the car shines, not really all that much like the long straights of Le Mans here. So I was maybe a little bit wrong on that assessment in the beginning. But also I think I maybe, if you saw the tune, I did have quite a lot of rear wing, because it was just needed to make this car feel stable. But maybe for this track I really should have reduced the rear wing at least a little bit to get a little bit more straight line speed out of this. So could have done better here, I think. But I was still kind of keeping up with a group of 3 cars in front, also because they were fighting as well. By the way, that's 2 Audis in front and the KTM X-Bow GT4. So it was kind of interesting to have the little brother of this thing also in this race. And yeah, as I said before, maybe could have done a little bit better, but if you get closer to someone on Le Mans, the slipstream really gets you there. And I'm able to do quite well here and overtake the GT4 for now, and try and get close to the 2 Audis in front. And well, we're gonna see how well we can do as we get bumped a little bit from the GT4 from behind. Nothing happened this time, so luckily we can still go. But yeah, we're now gonna see that the Audi in front here, I don't know if he... it looked like to me he wasn't really wanting to let me pass. As you can see, he moves over here. That's not something you do on Le Mans. Like, people behind you have slipstream, they are gonna be faster, you let them overtake, and then it's your turn to go into their slipstream, and then this thing just repeats on the straights. It's just how Le Mans works. But this guy, I don't know if... yeah, I think he was a little bit... it was a little bit of an unfair thing of what he did there. He also bumped into the other Audi R8, and then in this corner here the GT4 bumped into the back of me, and I was really struggling to get back on track and almost cut off, I think it's another Audi that's coming from behind. At least the GT4, the KTM GT4 did wait, so I don't think that was on purpose. I think that guy was driving quite nicely the rest of the race, so I think it was just a mistake. But yeah, I was a little bit flustered here and went wide going into the Porsche curves. And well, I then just had to let these guys go and find myself back in P5. But it's not all lost yet. We still have 3 laps to go, and these laps are long. So I'm not gonna show you all of this race because it would just be way too long. But we're gonna take a look a little bit at what this car can do. But I also want to talk about, like, what is this car viable for the GT series in multiplayer? And yes, it is, but I'm kind of torn. Because as you could see, I can go quite fast from the Hotlap, but the problem of this car really, well, I'm gonna talk about that in a second. As by the way, I don't know what I was thinking here. I cut this corner way too much and, well, get a 1.5 second penalty. So that wasn't great. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm a little bit torn about this car, because the problem with it is you're gonna be slower than all the other cars in the corners. Well, yes, you're faster on the straights, but that means that if people behind you are not paying attention and noticing that you are slower than they are, they're just gonna bump into you. And I've had that happen so many times, and you saw 2 examples before the start of this race. I don't know. As I, by the way, get another nice slipstream here and manage to get alongside the Audi, and hopefully he will not bump into me going into this corner. And luckily he doesn't this time, and I'm actually able to, for now, pull away. But he is still behind me and will have slipstream, so he probably will be able to catch up again. But yeah, on, like, I'd say normal tracks, where there is some, where there are some sections where you will have an advantage because of your straight line acceleration, and, well, just being able to overtake people on the straights, you're gonna struggle in the corners. And as I said, if people behind you are not paying attention, you're gonna have a bad time. And that is why I'm not quite sure, as I get bumped from behind once again, I'm not quite sure if I can really recommend this car for the GT series. At least not for, like, the go-to stable car. Yes, it is a car that can go fast, and if you also manage to control the little bit skittish nature of this car, I think you can do quite well. But you really need to be able to predict what's happening behind you. You have 2 monitors, which is nice, so you can definitely see what's going on behind, even though the right one is a little bit obscured by the UI, sadly. But I think the visibility is good enough. But you really need to pay attention, because, as I said, if someone behind you goes like their normal pace through the corner and you are just that little bit slower, they might bump into you. So yeah, I'm not sure if I can really recommend this car. It's definitely not something I would recommend to beginners. That's also something that's gotta be said. But yeah, give it a try. I mean, there's no harm in that. If you have the car, I mean, it was also part of a discount in the early days of Forza Motorsport, so, like, maybe you already have it, so you can definitely give it a go. But yeah, be careful with it, is what I would like to say. By the way, if you maybe noticed, some people actually did not go on hard tires, it seemed like, because 2 people in front actually went to the pits, and I suddenly find myself in P2. But my tires are starting to go a little bit. There's still a full lap to go, and they are now starting to go into, well, half durability, which you can definitely already feel, and it's only gonna get worse in the rest of this lap. So I was really conscious of the fact that I needed to take a little bit, needed to take care so as to not spin out somewhere. But I was like, okay, this guy in front, he is 6 seconds away, he has a 5-second penalty, so maybe if I can get a little bit closer, we can do something. But yeah, it was definitely a little bit, I was happy with P2 in this position. I was like, I'm not gonna push too much and just be careful. So in the end, I managed to catch up a little bit on like this section with a lot of straights, but then again did lose out again in the end a little bit in the Porsche curves and like the last sector. So in the end I was not able to really catch up enough for me to challenge him for his first position. But as I said, I was happy with P2 here, and I was happy with how the car performed on this track as well. And well, as I said before, while the car can do quite well, and I think it's a great car for hot lapping, I don't think it's the best car for just general purpose GT driving in the multiplayer Spec Series, because of the reason that I outlined. It is more difficult to drive, it is slower in the corners, and you might struggle because of those two things. But like maybe you can do a little bit more with tuning. That's something that I would like to ask you. Is there something where you are like, okay, I would do something different here, and that maybe would improve maybe the handling or just the corner speed? Yeah, let me know if you have some ideas. And also let me know if you try out this car, what you think, and if you have the same experience as I did with having like not that great races, with sometimes maybe a little bit of a light shining through with some good race that you can have, or maybe it's a different experience for you. Definitely let me know. And yeah, that's it from me. If you unsubscribed to the channel yet, please feel free to do so. That would really help me out as always. But that's it, and I would really like to thank you for watching. I've been HD Racing. See you in the next one.